is Loom. Today, we are working in the New Headway Intermediate book. Now, we would like to know who are or were the most famous writers in your country. Mr. Paul.
The most famous writer in my country is, of course, William Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare is a very famous writer. You're going to read about the lives of Agatha Christie and Ernest Hemingway. We want to know why they're famous, what nationality they are, what century they were born in, the names of any of their works, and whether you know anything else about their lives. Let's start with Agatha Christie. Mr. Paul, please read our first paragraph.
Agatha Mary Clarissa Christie is possibly the world's most famous detective story writer. She wrote 78 novels, and her sales, 4 billion copies of her novels, outnumber those of William Shakespeare. However, behind her 4,680,000 words was a painfully shy woman whose life was often lonely and unhappy.
Very good. And what is a detective?
A detective is somebody who investigates crime.
Uh-huh. Now if I say painfully shy, what am I saying?
She was very, very shy.
Very good. And now, can we read about her early life?
She was born in 1890 in Devon, the third child of Clarissa and Frederick Miller, and grew into a beautiful and sensitive girl. She didn't go to school, but was educated at home by her parents. Her father taught her mathematics through stories and games, and her mother encouraged her to write her own stories. Unfortunately, her father died in 1901 when she was 11, and both she and her mother were grief-stricken.
Yes, and what does it mean to be sensitive?
When you are very sensitive, you are emotionally aware of everything that's going on around you, and even the slightest thing could actually hurt your feelings.
And what is it to be grief-stricken?
It's when you are overcome with emotion. Some people refer to it as being depressed, but it's usually the result of some kind of traumatic experience.
Very good, and let's go on to our next paragraph.
When World War I came in 1914, she became a nurse in a hospital dispensary, which proved very useful to her in her later career. Many of the murders in her books were carried out by a clever use of drugs and poisons, showing how much she had learnt about them as a nurse.
Very good, and what is a dispensary?
It's like a hospital pharmacy.
And what is poison?
Poison is something which is in a liquid form, which is capable of killing you.
Uh-huh. Now we have her life as a writer. She wrote her first detective novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, in 1920. In it, she introduced Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective who appeared in many subsequent novels. Her other main detective was an elderly spinster called Miss Marple, who was based on Agatha's grandmother and her circle of friends. Christie's stories have ingenious plots and keep the reader guessing who the murderer is until the very end of the story. And here we have the word ingenious, very, very intelligent storylines or plots. For her personal life, we see it in 1914 at the beginning of the war. She married Archibald Christie. But the marriage was unhappy. It It didn't last, and they divorced in 1926. It was a very difficult time for her, as her much-loved mother had died earlier that year. Agatha suffered a nervous breakdown, and one night she abandoned her car and mysteriously disappeared. She went missing for 11 days and was eventually found in a hotel in Harrogate, in the north of England. Agatha desperately wanted solitude and felt bitter towards the media because the newspapers had given her a hard time over her break-in disappearance. She was determined never to let them enter her private life again. Solitude means she wanted to be alone. Her final years, she enjoyed a very happy second marriage to Max Melvin, an archaeologist who she met in Baghdad and married in 1930. Her detective skills were a help to him in his excavations in Syria and Iraq. By successfully staying out of the media spotlight, she ultimately found happiness with her beloved husband. Her best novels were written after 1930. She continued writing until 1973. Christie was awarded England's highest honor, an OBE, by the Queen in 1971. She died peacefully in 1976. Okay. Interesting. Now, what is an excavation?
This is when they dig deep into the earth.
Very interesting. And now, what is an archaeologist?
This is somebody who looks into the history of a country or a place, and they also dig deep into the earth to find clues about how life was many years ago.
Very good. So, why is Agatha Christie famous?
Because she's written so many books.
Yeah. What nationality was she?
British.
Mm-hmm. What century was she born in?
Was she born in the 19th century? Yes, she was.
I believe so. Do you know the names of any of her works?
Murder on the Orient Express.
Do you know anything about her life?
She was a writer. She was born in 1890. She was a very sensitive girl. She didn't go to school. She was educated by her parents.
Very good. Now we have Ernest Hemingway. Was one of the great American writers of the 20th century. He was born on July 21st, 1899, Oak Park, Illinois, the second of 6 children. His family was very strict, and he ran away from home twice. His father taught him hunting and fishing. Ernest caught his first fish at the age of 3 and was given a shotgun when he was 12. Hemingway's love of outdoor activity and danger showed in his later career as a war correspondent. At school, he was good at English and wrote for the school newspaper. He graduated in 1917, but he didn't go to college. He went to Kansas City and worked as a journalist for the Star newspaper. He learned a lot, but left after only 6 months to go to war. Hemingway was fascinated by war, but he wanted to become a soldier, but couldn't because of poor eyesight. Instead, in the First World War, he became an ambulance driver and was sent to Italy, where he was wounded in 1918. After the war, he went to live in Paris, where he was encouraged in his work by the American writer Gertrude Stein. 1930s, he became a war correspondent at the Spanish Civil War and World War II. Many of his books were about war. His most successful book, For Whom the Bell Tolls, was written in 1940 and is about the Spanish Civil War. Another novel, A Farewell to Arms, is about the futility of war. That's interesting. Now, what does futility mean?
It means that it's pointless. There's no rhyme or reason for it.
Very good. Now, his personal life. Hemingway's success in writing was not mirrored by similar success in his personal life. He married 4 times. His first wife divorced him in 1927. He immediately married again and moved to Key West, Florida, where he enjoyed hunting and fishing, but he also suffered from depression. This wasn't helped when in 1928, his father committed suicide. Hemingway's health was not good and he had many accidents. 2 more marriages failed. In 1954, he survived 2 plane crashes. In October the same year, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature, but he was too ill to receive it in person. His final years were taken up with health problems. He began to lose his memory and he couldn't write anymore. On Sunday, July 2nd, 1961, Hemingway killed himself with a shotgun, just as his father had done before him. So, a very troubled life for Ernest Hemingway. Interesting. Now, we want to know, why is Hemingway famous?
Well, he's a famous writer.
Yeah. What nationality was he?
American.
American? Which century was he born in?
Was he born in the 19th century?
We can double check.
Yeah.
1899. He was barely born in the 19th century. Do we know the names of any of his works?
Well, I don't personally, but you might.
The Sun Also Rises, For Whom the Bell Tolls, A Farewell to Arms. Do you know anything about his life?
Well, he had a troubled life, and his father suffered with depression. Prior to this, of course, his father gave him a shotgun when he was 12 because he enjoyed fishing and hunting. I thought it was a bit strange to give a 12-year-old a shotgun.
That is strange, yes.
It's no surprise that he actually committed suicide by a shotgun.
He had depression as well, so giving a person with depression a shotgun may not be the best idea. Now, we have sentences below that appear in the text. Try to guess which sentences go with which writer. We have right C for Christie, or H for Hemingway. Interesting. Okay. Was educated at home?
Christie.
Christie. Had wanted to become a soldier but couldn't because of poor eyesight.
Hemingway.
Hemingway. Stories have ingenious plots and keep the reader guessing where the murder is until the very end of the story.
Christie.
Christie, in the 1930s, became a war correspondent in the Spanish Civil War.
Hemingway.
Hemingway, in 1954, survived 2 plane crashes.
Hemingway.
Went missing for 11 days and was eventually found in a hotel in Harrogate in the north of England.
Christie.
Looking 2 groups. We have... we've already done our reading. Very good. Let's go on to our next set of questions. Where and when was he born?
He was born in America. 19th century.
America, I believe it was July 21st, 1899. Yes. And when was she born and when?
She was born in Devon, in England, in 1890.
1890, perfect. Now, did he or she have a happy family life?
Well, I don't think he did. I don't think she did.
No.
No.
Well, her later life was happy after she married an archaeologist in the Middle East. Her early life was marked by a nervous breakdown and family problems. He had depression and 4 marriages, all of which failed. So no, he did not have a happy family life. How did his or her parents play a part in his or her career? How about Agatha Christie? Were her parents helpful?
I think her mother encouraged her to write.
Yeah.
So she would have been helpful, yeah.
She was educated at home, was encouraged to write. And how about Ernest Hemingway?
I think that his father wasn't really that helpful, actually.
No.
I don't think he treated him as a potential writer.
Taught him how to fish and hunt,
Yeah.
but no information about encouraging him to write.
Yeah.
No. Okay. What do you think were the most important events in his life?
Oh, the most important event in his life? I have no idea.
Okay. Well, he had several book publications.
Yeah.
He had some troubles, like surviving plane crashes. He had 4 marriages. Those were all major events in the person's life. And how about Agatha Christie?
The most important event in her life was having her works published, especially early on.
Many publications, yes. A nervous breakdown may have been a problem. Meeting her husband, of course.
Would you
Marriages?
say that's an important event?
A nervous breakdown? It would depend on the person's behavior after it, right?
Possibly a traumatic event.
Yeah, if a person has a quick nervous breakdown, then recovers and goes back to work, I would say not a major problem. If a person has a nervous breakdown and then loses a job, can't find work after, I would say that would be an important life event. It
Yeah.
would depend on the aftermath. Now, how did war play a part in his life?
Oh, he went off as a war correspondent and covered the Civil War in Spain, as well as other.
In World War II, right?
Yes.
So war was a very important aspect to Hemingway's life. What about Christie? Anything about war in her life?
What's it about her husband? Maybe I can't remember.
Yeah, not that I recall. Okay. How many times was he married?
I think he married 4 times.
4 times. How about her?
Did she marry?
I believe so. Let's double check.
She married the
Archaeologist,
archaeologist.
right?
Yeah.
So she had an unhappy marriage, difficult time for her, then a nervous breakdown, then a happy second marriage. So, 2 marriages for her, 4 for him. Very emotional lives these writers have. Which of these dates relates to your writer? What do we think?
Let's see.
We have 1901, 1914, 1917, 1918, 1920, 1926, 1928, 1930, 1940, 1954. We have 1914 here with the World War
I
I.
was going to say that.
Yeah. We have 1920 here, the first detective novel. We have 1914 again, her marriage. We have 1926 with her divorce. We have 1930. Best novels written after that date. And now, moving on to Hemingway. We have 1917 with him graduating from high school. We have 1918, him being wounded in Italy as an ambulance driver. 1940 was the publication of For Whom the Bell Tolls. His father committing suicide in 1928. His first wife divorcing him in 1927. 2 plane crashes in 1954. A very eventful life for Mr. Hemingway. Now we have similarities and differences. Can someone give me a similarity between Hemingway and Christie?
They were both writers.
They were both writers, yes. Can someone give me a difference?
He was American and she was British.
Different nationalities? Can someone give me another similarity?
I think they wrote kind of stories that were mysteries.
Both wrote some mysteries, maybe. And how about another difference?
He was married 4 times, but I think she married once.
Twice, actually.
Okay.
So they both had multiple marriages. That is a similarity in terms of they both having multiple marriages, but a difference in terms of him having 4 marriages and her having 2. Okay? So, we have what tense are these verbs? Agatha Christie was educated at home.
Right.
Educated, what do you think?
I don't understand your question.
What tense is our verb there, educated?
Oh, this is the past simple.
Now, since yes, A Farewell to Arms and For Whom the Bell Tolls were written by Ernest Hemingway, find more examples in the text and underline them. Why don't we go on to our next one? Complete the sentences with the auxiliaries was, were, or had.
So are you saying that that is the past perfect, what were written?
Could be. Why don't we take a look?
Wouldn't that be had? They're in the past.
The
simple
verbs are the
past.
past simple passive form. Agatha Christie was born, was educated, were carried out, was based on, was eventually found, were written, and was awarded. Our past simple passive form. Ernest Hemingway was born, was given, was fascinated, was sent, was wounded, was encouraged, was written, was not mirrored, wasn't helped, was awarded, and we're taking up all in the past simple passive form. Okay, now we have complete the sentences with the auxiliaries was, were, or had. For A, Christie's novels show how much she
Had
learned about poisons in a nurse. Miss Marple blank
was based.
was based on Agatha's grandmother. Hemingway
Was living.
was living in Paris when he met Gertrude Stein. Both Christie and Hemingway were honored in their lifetime. Once again, my name is Lou. We're working out of the New Headway and the book. We'll see you next time.